Hey, welcome back to the Infamous Podcast. This is Brian.
This is Daryl.
And this is, what episode is this, Daryl?
272.
Where even are we, Daryl? Who are you? Why don't you have a home, Daryl?
I don't know.
Spoilers! Anyway, welcome to the show. This week we are talking WandaVision, Season 1, Episode 3. The Expanse, Season 5, Episode 8, which makes me sad because it means we only have two episodes left.
Yeah.
And then we have news bites on Dunk and Egg. Dunk and Egg, not Duncan. Last name Egg. Dunk and Egg. Get with it. Suicide Squad news, Morbius news, Black Widow news. Does that about cover it?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
Peace. No, actually, before we start, make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. Go do that. Like while you're listening, go search Infamous Podcast or go to the Infamous Podcast. Just go to infamouspodcast.com and click on our YouTube link. And
we'll wait.
Like and subscribe because we're going to start doing more exclusive stuff to YouTube on top of our exclusive WandaVision commentaries that we're doing on Patreon that for as low as $2 a month, you can have all 8. So you could go do $2 right now, get all 8 of the episodes for $4. Just saying. You don't have to go for, we're not a streaming service that you can sign up and forget about. You can sign up for 2 months and then be like, hey, well, wait till the next exclusive thing comes out that I like and I'll support the guys again.
What commercial was that when it was $4?
Oh, I don't even remember. But while we're talking about $4, thanks to Matt and Julian for backing us on Patreon. You two are doing God's works because we are polytheist like Battlestar Galactica at this joint.
Not we. They.
Well, you're. I'm a anti-theist. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So Daryl, how's it going?
Not bad. It's another wonderful Friday in the Northern Kentucky area. About 30 degrees today.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice out though. Sun was shining, so can't complain about that.
Yeah, I gotta say, the Nerd Den studio is a little lonely this week because you're back in the cat town, and
Yeah.
didn't drive up this week. Slacker.
Yeah, I'll probably be expecting a proverbial knock or cat scratch on the door because
It'll happen. It's a cat. That's what they do.
Yeah,
They're like,
but
hey,
I am
what's
surrounded.
up? I'm a cat. Pay attention to me.
Yeah. But it's so much. It's to kind of get to where you are in your office. I'm surrounded by all my pops, and I have some Star Wars figures up on the wall. So
yeah, we both got new figures today.
Yeah, Dark Ray and Moff Gideon.
Yeah, I only got the Dark Ray. I didn't pre-order any of the Moff Gideon and the Armorer, and I forget what the other two were in that wave. But
I think that was the only one I did, Moff Gideon.
Yeah. Because we both got the exclusive Armorer, so
yeah, I didn't get the
didn't
regular.
seem like I needed to really do that one.
Nah,
but
so
you know how it is.
Yep.
But yeah, all right, well, cool. All right, let's get to it. The first news: Dunk and Egg.
Dunk and Egg.
Dunk and Egg. So it is a Game of Thrones prequel that is in early development with the Hobo Max. I'm going to call it Hobo Max from now on instead of HBO Max because it's Plus and, Netflix and Hulu, but I'm going to call it Hobo Max just because. All right. So this was one of the books, the Three Tales of Dunk and Egg, that George Germ, as the guys from Bold Move call him, Germ, George R.R. Martin wrote to go along with his Song of Ice and Fire story, and it took place 90 years prior to the events of A Song of Night and Words are hard. They're very, very hard, Daryl. So it was
It's
90
only
years.
5 minutes in.
5 minutes and 10 seconds in, and I can't talk. Uh, anyway, it followed Sir Duncan the Tall, Dunk, and young Aegon Targaryen, Aegon the Fifth of his name, Targaryen, Egg, who we all know as the Grand Maester of the Black, whatever there are, the Night's Watch. Yeah. So, but the series included the Hedge Knight, the Sworn Sword, and the Mystery Knight. And they were 3 novellas that were then collected into one book in 2015.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I finished that book or not.
So it was really good. I really liked it. If you like it, they actually did comic book adaptations of all of these. And the Hedge Knight one is really, really good. I think it was Dark Horse who put them out. I'm almost 100% sure it was Dark Horse who put them out. So it's well worth checking out.
Yeah, I know the copy that I got, even though it was digital, it had like illustrations throughout the book. So seeing an actual full-on, comic graphic novel version of that'd be really cool.
Yeah, it was really, really neat to see that.
But one of the things that it's again, what was the Naomi Watts's? So we don't know if it's going to actually go to production in the sense of filming, but who knows with this stuff.
We just know this is one of the many Game of Thrones things they are throwing against the wall to figure out if it works.
I mean, really, if they would just put all their efforts and we'll talk about this very soon, is that Germ has yet to put out his latest book. And I'm honestly, talk about losing interest in stuff. I've almost completely lost interest in reading Game of Thrones.
So it's
funny.
It
has nothing.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the series and how the series ended or anything like that. It's just straight up. It's been how long? 8 years now? 9 years? I don't even know.
So I was texting with a friend and he mentioned something about the Targaryen sigil, and I was like, I don't even know what that is. Now it didn't help that he spelled Targaryen wrong and threw me off, but it's just Game of Thrones has gone so far out of like the lexicon and like the geekness of it all that it was like, oh, okay, I completely forgot about this was a thing that I loved for 7 or 8, 9 years, however long it was on.
Yeah. And Patrick Rothfuss, he's another fantasy author. He's done the same thing. He has a book that's it was like his last sequel. Well, in the main series of his books, it's been like 7 or 8 years. And then you have guys like Brandon Sanderson who churns out like 1 or 2 books a year, and it's like, okay. Yeah. So, I'm gonna hitch my wagon to the Brandon Sanderson train because he's always putting shit out, good shit too. So
some people are really good writers, and some people are George R.R. Martin.
Yeah,
just gonna throw that one right out there. Not even worry about it.
Speaking of throwing at the wall,
right? Well, he let the Double D's do his dirty work and finish the story. In a way that was perceived badly. And, he doesn't have to do it now. He can be like, oh, that wasn't what I wanted to do, but they ruined what I wanted to do, so I'm just never going to write the last 2 books.
Yeah.
So, because he's a punk. And, speaking of punks, John Cena is in Suicide Squad.
Can you see him?
See, that's the thing. Like, they keep saying he's in it, but I haven't seen him in a trailer yet. So, I love John Cena. I'm just kidding around. James Gunn came out and promised quote unquote cool stuff coming related to the Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad, not to be confused with Suicide Squad or the Ohio State University.
It's the Ohio State University.
No, it's the Ohio State Eyes. Or luck.
Redacted.
You can use F or L. Either one works. But no, he came out and he said that the lack of content has been addressed by James Gunn in a recent tweet. He said there's a hair's breadth of being completely finished with the Suicide Squad. Which is good news, And he added in a follow-up to another question on Twitter that the last at last a teaser is coming soon, along with a bunch of unspecified but quote unquote again cool stuff. I love James Gunn, so I've got a ton of just goodwill towards him, and I'm gonna trust he's gonna do something cool and not really get too hyped, or get too down one way or the other
Right.
about what's happening here.
Well, the positive about something like The Suicide Squad is that there hasn't been a promise of it being out for a year or something like that. So we know this is still, going on. The filming is still going on. So we didn't get that kind of like that rush of, this trailer, we've had 2 trailers for it, we can't wait for it, and then it gets, pushed back 6 months, 8 months, 12 months. And again, to your point, I like James Gunn as a filmmaker. Guardians 2 was a little bit iffy for me, but overall, I just like his work. So the Suicide Squad, I think, is perfect for his type of storytelling. That kind of off kilter storytelling. Not following kind of like that. The usual path of most films.
Well, like Slither,
they're just weird characters.
Slither was a really weird movie.
Yeah.
Super. I don't know if you ever saw Super. That was a really weird movie.
Yeah, that was
with Dwight Schrute and Elliot, whatever, the person who plays Vanya, the person who ruined Kitty Pryde. How about that one? But yeah, so in another tweet, someone says, "Trailer wins, sir. We are starving," and he responded, I know, you want the trailer or the teaser or more news or who the baddie is." In parentheticals, they all are the baddies, but also in parentheticals. Anyway, it will all be with you in due time. I'm working on cool stuff for you, but please be patient. So to echo old Jimmy's words there, let's be patient. We know that the movie's coming out. We know that there's a Hobo Max series about Peacemaker starring John Cena. And, I think we should just all be excited about the fact that we have a cool filmmaker finally in the DC EU who will hopefully be left alone.
Let's hope.
All right. Speaking of being left alone,
let's hope.
Morbius is being pushed back because the James Bond movie got pushed back. So,
that side just sums up everything I have and my emotions toward the movie going industry now, which again, I know they're going through a tough time in the sense of certain states and opening movie theaters and all this stuff. Yeah. But there comes a point where you're just going to have to say, we're going to have to release some of these, because again, I was excited for Morbius, not as excited as something, say, Black Widow, but my interest in it's gone right now. Now, that doesn't mean it won't pick back up, but it's not going to be the same because it's 2022 now.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be released in 2022.
See, I never had a ton of like, I can't wait to see Morbius. Like, I thought the trailer was okay. One, I think it's really weird that they're doing any of this stuff without having a Spider-Man in their larger universe. And two, I don't like Jared Leto.
Okay. Well, that will definitely color how you feel about Morbius, because it's Jared Leto, which
right?
Again, I like him. I don't think he's like the greatest, but I do enjoy his work for the most part. So, sure. And I like the trailer. Again, the trailer wasn't like, it didn't get me hyped like Black Widow's trailer did, because again, there's no ScarJo in it.
Right.
And yet it's just, again, these movies, like even the James Bond movie and No Time to Die, the first trailer for that was pretty good. And right now I'm just people can't see me because I'm not on video. I'm just shrugging right now. It's just, whatever.
Yeah. And like, yeah, No Time to Die, just like, I don't know. I thought the trailer was okay. Everybody was like, this is great. This is the greatest James Bond trailer that ever was. James Bond, girl James Bond. And I was like, you know what? I stopped really caring about James Bond at the end of Skyfall. Like I felt like
Mm.
Skyfall literally could have been like, all right, that's a wrap on the
It could have.
franchise. No, we don't need to do
Yeah.
anymore. We got a cool Adele song
Yeah.
out of
Oh.
it. We got an actual cool story. And then they came back with Spectre, right? That was the next one.
Yeah.
And that might have been the worst James Bond movie of all time.
The best. Ooh, yeah. I'm not going to go that far. Not even
It's
nearly
bad.
that far.
Like,
but I will.
The only character I liked was
But I will
Batista,
say
and he didn't even talk. So
I was gonna, I was gonna say, and again, that was perfect because he didn't need to. But that was, I was gonna say that the best scene of that movie was that fight on the train, and then like after that, it's before and after that, it's just like, eh.
right.
So again, and then Ghostbusters Afterlife is bumped back to mid to late 2021. I don't know when that was supposed to be released.
That movie's done. It's in the can. It's done. Right. Just put it out. Just
right.
Here's the thing. Put Ghostbusters Rebirth or whatever the frack it's called out for $22 and let me buy it.
Right.
And you know what I'll do? I'll buy it today and I'll watch it because it's got the galactic treasure that is Paul Rudd in it, and it's got Finn Wolfhard, who is the best thing in coming out of Stranger Things.
Okay. Yes, and I gotta say, that sounds like a porn name.
Oh, it absolutely sounds like a porn name. So, and good on him for that, right? Good on him.
Yeah. But yeah, to your point, let's not do the $24 rental thing. They're still doing that with some of these early release movies, and it's
there's a movie
why
that came out. It's called like A Promising Woman or something like that. Where this lady like goes out and pretends like she's drunk, and then the nice guy takes her home, and then she murders them. It seems like a totally cool movie and something I would totally watch. But you have to rent it for $20. I'm like, nah.
Is that the one with Vanessa Kirby?
No, it's I don't know her name. It was I didn't recognize who she was or anything that she'd been in.
Okay.
Give me 2 seconds and I'll look it up.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like, are you kidding? Like this is like it's called Promising Young Woman, and it stars Carey Mulligan, Bo Burnham, Alison Brie, Clancy Brown, Jennifer Coolidge, Laverne Cox, and Connie Britton. So Mrs. Coach is in there. So hell yeah, dude. And it's directed by Emerald Fennell, who is the lady, she was behind, I think Killing Eve is the show.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently Margot Robbie is a producer on it. So, honestly, Margot Robbie is going, her career is said and done, the stuff that she's produced and behind the scenes stuff is going to dwarf what she's done on screen. And she's a good actress. I don't complain about Margot Robbie at all. But the stuff she's produced has typically been pretty cool. Just saying.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And again, kind of to your point of that, there's, I am a huge fan of disaster porn, and Greenland is out with, Gerard Butler and Monica Baccarin or Marina Baccarin.
Yeah.
And I really want to see that movie, but it's a $20 rental, and I'm not renting a movie for $20.
I think Geostorm might still be on HBO. I'm just saying, if you want to watch Gerard Butler torture or environment porn, like right there. So
yeah,
actually, if you want to watch a really good Gerard Butler movie, Law Abiding Citizen, with him and Jamie Foxx.
To see that one.
That is by far and away my favorite
really
Gerard Butler movie, even more than 300.
Yeah. See, 300's mine, but I actually have Law Abiding Citizen on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I have it. I bought it on digital, but yeah, it goes Law Abiding Citizen, 300, Rain of Fire.
Oh, Rain of Fire. So underrated. I love that movie.
Yes, highly underrated. All right, so our last bit. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was about to say, have you gotten to the part in Green Lights when McConaughey talks about that movie?
I haven't started the book yet. I told you I got to finish Leviathan Wakes. I've got.
Oh yeah, you got to finish Leviathan Wakes. Yeah. All right.
You'd think I'd just stop listening to the book I've already listened to and go and listen to something new, but no, I'm not. I can't do that. Anyway, all right. So Black Widow. It's saying so. I've seen conflicting reports saying it has moved and saying it may be moved.
Right.
They're going to run into trouble if they keep pushing this back because they're going to end up having to push back Spider-Man and Doctor Strange.
Yep.
And the rumor is Florence Pugh is going to take over as Black Widow in the absence of her sister Natasha Romanoff. So I don't know, but will anyone love her enough to throw her off a cliff? You didn't think I had any more in me, did you? You didn't think I could bring it there, but I did.
This is fine. I'm looking at my little dog on the seat pop. Like, this is fine. This is fine.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
The kid gets more mad at me than you do.
Oh yeah. No, it's to the point where I'm just worn down by it. I'm just like, I have no fight left in me.
It's our game. It's just fun to do.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had anything that I cared about, like you care about ScarJo Black Widow, you would make fun of me for it too.
Yeah. I'm surprised you don't have like a Lego of that and then put it on your Christmas tree next year.
Oh, the Black Widow Lego figure, the minifig.
Yeah.
And just knock her down.
Her hanging.
So, well, I tried to buy the Christmas ornament and hanger, like have her hanging and, but no, you know what? I do have both Hawkeye and Black Widow. I could probably do that. Actually, what I should do is when we go to Kokomo, try and get a Ronin and Black Widow loose Black Series figure and kind of make that happen as a little scene.
Oh man. I don't even have to go with the "you're a monster." You know that.
Oh,
you're comfortable with that.
Hey, you gotta love who you are.
You lean into that.
You gotta love who you are, man. If you don't love who you are, you can't be a monster. Anyway, or the monster takes over. Think about that. I'm just saying, if you want to get really worried, the monster might take over someday, and then that's just not good for anybody. So no, it's May 7th is what they're saying. So, yeah, I think this No Time to Die thing is just really messing with things, and these studios need to stop caring, because I tell you what, if I had the choice of going to see Black Widow or No Time to Die, I'm going to see Black Widow, hands down. I'd probably see Black Widow at least twice before I even bothered to go see No Time to Die.
I was just about to say that. I'd go see that twice before I'd go see No Time to Die.
So in looking at the kind of the Marvel release dates here, like the key release dates in the Screen Rant article on our show notes, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is July 9th, 2021. Again, I would go see that before the James Bond movie. Eternals is November 5th, 2021. I'd probably go see James Bond before I see the Eternals because I don't give a shit about that movie. And then Spider-Man Homecoming 3, I don't think it's going to be called Homecoming 3 because the second one wasn't called Homecoming 2. Get with it, Screen Rant is December 17th. So, yeah. And I don't think there's any movie that I'd go see before a Spider-Man movie. Just saying.
No.
No matter how bad they are. Andrew Garfield. Dancing Spider-Man. Whiny Tobey Maguire. Oh, excuse me. I'd still go see those before No Time for James Bond in my life.
Yeah, like you said, they're going to have to start making these decisions and just sticking with things and not trying to push stuff back. Because again, and this, you said this, we talked about this months ago, when there's going to be a time, because movies are still being made.
Mm-hmm.
And are you just going to continually push back and push back and push back movies? I mean, for example, we saw, it wasn't because of, Modelo, but New Mutants got pushed back, 3 years?
At
2
least,
years?
like multiple times. It got pushed back multiple times.
Yeah. And looking at Maisie in that versus what she looks like now is like so jarring, because you're like, okay, she looks like she looked more than 2 years older, but
Yeah, I mean, she looked like
They're
she
gonna
was
have to make
still
decisions.
little baby Arya Stark. But no, the
Yeah,
other
she
thing
did.
too is like, what about all these actors who had like other things in the pipe? Like they were like, okay, I'm gonna do this
Right.
movie, and then I'm gonna do this movie, then I'm gonna do this indie movie, then I'm gonna do this series. Like, they're gonna just mess up everything, and I feel like I don't know. I just think it's really stupid. So after
Yeah.
Homecoming,
It's.
oh sorry,
I was just gonna say it's just frustrating to
yes,
continually see this.
yeah, because after Homecoming 3, which again, that's the working title. Um, Maybe it should be called Spider-Man No Home to go with the WandaVision stuff today. But no. So then Doctor Strange and the Multitude of Madness is March 25th, 2022. Thor Love and Sparkles is May 6th, 2022. Black Panther 2 right now says July 8th, 2022, but like I'm guessing that's going to be pushed back. Just because they haven't even started filming that one yet, and they don't even know what they're gonna do. And then Captain Marvel 2 is November 11th, 2022. So
I felt the disgust when you said that. I'm not gonna lie.
it just like okay, so I took my kid to see it, my daughter to see it, and she's like typically like yeah, she likes to see like girl heroes and everything, but like she also just likes good stuff, right? She only likes stuff if it's good.
Right.
Like right now she's busting through Batman the animated series on Hobo Max. But like we came out of Captain Marvel 2, I'm like, what'd you think? She's like, I love the cat. Well, what'd you think of Captain Marvel? I like the cat. The cat was cool. Goose is my favorite character in the movie. Wow.
That is hilarious.
Wow, that is just a damning indictment of how badly that movie was written and how cardboard Brie Larson is. And it's a shame too, because Brie Larson and Scott Pilgrim like exudes charisma.
Oh, I loved her in
and
that.
Is cool as Ivy. Brie Larson in 21 Jump Street is hilarious with Jonah Hill. And it makes me wonder, do they need to get her good co-stars to raise her up? Because like Brandon Routh brought her up in every scene. Michael Cera brought her up in every scene. I don't know. Like, did you watch Room?
No.
The one she won an Oscar for?
No, I never did.
Yeah. Just anyway. All right. So yeah, Marvel, let me rephrase this. Disney needs to get their shit together and start pushing some of this stuff out.
Yeah, and by the way, Disney, no more premium launches. They're doing it again with Raya and the Last Dragon, which I actually am interested in seeing, but I'm not going to drop 30 bones for that. I'll just wait 2 months, and when it becomes free on D+.
Yeah, you're dropping.
There's no need for that.
You're really dropping like 37 for it because you are.
Yeah.
Your monthly subscription fee. So. Anyway.
Yeah, it's dumb.
All right. So moving on from this, let's get live and in Technicolor.
What live?
We got WandaVision. So just like last week, we're just gonna do a non-spoilery, what's it called? Review of the show without really going too deep into it, because we are going to do our commentary this week. So back us on Patreon to get access to those. But so we're in the 70s with this one.
Yeah.
And my favorite thing about this episode was it was the Brady Bunch house, just backwards.
Yeah. It took me a minute to figure, because I kept wondering, why does this look so familiar?
Because we had a view of the house from the kitchen, like from the side door that takes you out to the backyard instead of the front door.
Mm-hmm.
And it was amazing. I loved it. I love the Brady Bunch. So seeing that was great. I love the opening credits this week, where they were the best ones yet.
Yeah. And again, I know this isn't for everyone. I love the creativity they're using here, and I think I said it last week when it kind of reminds me in a way of Cobra Kai and how they bring on the nostalgia of something that came before it,
Right.
but also interweave their own story. It's not just leaning on nostalgia to say, hey, oh, that was cool, and then forget about it. Because this has, this also has that mystery of what the hell is going on.
Right.
And one of the things you said when we were off, before we started recording, is it was kind of dark.
Yes.
And it was. And the first thing I noticed, like watching through it, is there were more serious moments in this one than there were in the first two episodes, probably in the first two combined. And that shows me and how we're getting more of the mystery slowly, kind of like Shrek and being an onion, slowly peeled away for us to see and figure out what's going on.
Right. Yeah, no, you're 100% right that we're getting more and more of that. And I don't know, I like it. I like the show. I had a couple people be like, I can't believe you liked WandaVision. And I was like, it's fun. It's different. It's the most creative thing that Disney Marvel has done yet.
Oh, absolutely.
And, like, I mean, let's be honest, there's been much more Marvel from Disney than there was Marvel from just Marvel on its own at this point. And this is like, I put this creatively up there with Winter Soldier and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. This is a show that I know I will be going back and revisiting.
Well, you have to, because there's so many Easter eggs.
Yeah. And and again, even after a couple viewings, especially like last week, there was stuff that, you mentioned that I was like, oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, and same.
I didn't hear that.
It was the same thing for me with you. But yeah, so in this episode, at the end of episode 2, which they got titles, by the way, like yesterday.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
That made me mad.
Yeah.
It's like, do I go back and update the show notes? No, screw it. But anyway, so this week it kicks off where, she's pregnant and it's the 70s and the doctor is there checking on her. And Vision is freaking out because of how fast everything's going.
Yeah. And again, I love the chemistry between those two. I mean, I liked it when they were just Wanda and Vision, and he was less emotional. Like, because I always think about in Civil War when he comes through her wall, and he's like, the door was open, so I just assumed that. No, it is. We talked about this. So seeing him from Paul Bettany again, because I like Paul Bettany too.
Same.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Paul Bettany. First time I ever saw him, I'm pretty sure it was Knight's Tale, walking down the street as Chaucer naked, walking down the road because he lost his clothes.
He wasn't walking; he was trudging.
Oh,
the action word. He was trudge to trudge. And
that's another movie. Yeah.
Anyway, no, you're right. And the best thing about Paul Bettany in this episode in particular is the facial expressions he gets to make in and out of the Vision makeup.
Yes. Those were clear, and present this week.
So,
and yes, just seeing him be able to emote more has been a treat.
Yep.
I said this whole series. There's 3 episodes.
And if you're listening to this on YouTube or you went to the website to watch it, I did grab my favorite Paul Bettany reaction and put it in the thumbnail. So there's that. But yeah, it was really great. I like Dr. Nelson because he's like, oh, you'll be fine. I'm going to Bermuda. I'll be gone, for however long. And Vision's doing the math and reading all the pregnancy books. And he's like, yeah, you should be having the baby by next Friday. And nothing ever goes to plan for these two.
No.
So
no, and again, it leans on some of that, the humor from those shows in this, those sitcoms in the 70s. But like we mentioned, there's more those layers of mystery with some of the other characters being involved in it. I mean, we don't get much from Agnes, Catherine Hahn's Agnes, but we get a little bit more where it makes your ears perk up and say, okay, what's going on. And that's it's tough to talk about. This is one of those shows it's kind of hard to talk about, non-spoilery stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but also it kind of it falls in line with we still don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and you had Sherbert next door, like doing the gardening. I'm always gonna call him Sherbert. Oh,
I know who you're
Sherby.
talking about.
Yeah, so Herbert, the next door neighbor. We got a lot of Geraldine this time out.
Yes.
Which was really good, played by the wonderful Tahona Paris. Or did I say that right?
Tayona,
Yeah.
I believe.
She was really good. Like, I really liked her in this episode, and she has a great moment that leads to kind of the reveal we've been waiting for.
Yes.
And then something kind of strange happens, which again is this episode moved everything forward so much so quickly that I can't wait to see what happens in the 80s next week.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and again, it's when the Mandalorian, every Friday was looking forward to the Mandalorian, and now I wasn't sure about this show, but now 2 weeks in, it has me looking forward to Fridays again.
Yeah, also, so this is what DePlus needed to do, right? They need to have that show. They need to have every Friday that show that has people hooked.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, I'm not waking up at 3 a.m. to watch this just to avoid spoilers. But, the fact that I'm off Twitter now, I don't have to worry about being spoiled for things.
Yeah.
Anyway, and it's just one of those things where I don't think spoilers for this show are necessarily a bad thing, because there's so much going on, and it's so steeped in the comic lore for the characters that I think that's pretty great. And then the commercial this week was a straight up Hydra commercial for Hydra Soak.
Hydra Soak.
Soak, thank you. Hydra Soak. Unleash the goddess within. And you know what I noticed today is that it's been the same two actors in all three commercials.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
So good job on what's her name? Jax Schaefer, who is the showrunner of the show. So this one was just like last week this one was wrong show. This was directed again by Matt Shakeman, who is one of the executive producers. He's directed all 3 episodes so far, and it was written by Megan McDonnell. So, yeah, it's really, I really like what they're doing. I like where the show's going. I like, I really liked how yellow the house was. That was something that I was kind of curious as to what color the house was going to be. And it's like that Vision cape yellow from the comic.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. And then my other favorite part, actually Vision was probably my favorite part of this episode of all the cool things that happened. I loved when he was like, "Oh, I'll run." And he runs and gets the doctor. And he he picks him up and then runs back with him. And the doctor's like, "It felt like we were flying." It's like, "You probably were." So
yeah, and I think what you said earlier, the part of this that was very important is how it moved the story forward.
Yep.
Because again, it could have been caught in that slope of nostalgia and not move the story as quickly as it needs to be moved. But instead, it didn't do that. It knew on that 3rd episode. It knew, hey, we have 8 episodes, or was it 8 or 9? I don't recall.
I think it's 8. I thought I saw 8 on the like little Wikipedia episode list of the TBD.
Okay. So it knew this episode really had to push that story forward a little bit more than the first 2 episodes did, and it does just that.
Right. All right. So then one last thing is Geraldine, just kind of a little bit of spoiler. She gets popped out of Westview. And so the Wikipedia summary says then SHIELD and SWORD agents surround her. How could you tell? It was
I
so dark and it was so
I didn't
fast
see any
that
symbols. I didn't
yeah.
see any, insignias.
So we just know that army type people are surrounding her. And so here's my question that I'm going to leave everybody with, and before we get into like our little rankings for the show, is Geraldine like really Monica Rambeau, like they're saying, and she was somehow inserted into this alternate Wandaverse, or did Wanda conjure her, and Geraldine is not Monica Rambeau, and she's just going to take that moniker?
Very interesting.
So, yeah, I have no idea. I'm not reading ahead. I haven't watched any previews. I don't know. It's just, but it would be very interesting for them to be like, oh, you actually look like this agent who grew up and died, and we're just gonna give you her name now, and here you are as part of Sword or whatever. I think that would be kind of a cool way to go.
Yeah, I did not think about that
So
part of it.
anyway, all right. So let's do Maximov babies out of 5. What do you give this one?
At first I would have said a 3.5, but I'm sticking with that 4. I would say it's from a full enjoyment factor. It's probably my second favorite episode, but from a overall importance factor, it's my favorite episode, or it's number 1.
Okay.
As far as importance to the rest of the series.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna go with a 3.5 on this one. And not because I didn't like it or I didn't enjoy it. I just missed the whimsy from the first 2.
Yeah.
I know this show has to go dark, and it's gonna have to go dark sooner rather than later. But that being said, I was enjoying the more wholesome entertainment side of things that were the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, and that's
Or I'm sorry,
the
50s
first time.
and 60s.
Yeah, the first time of watching it, especially like the first 10 minutes, I was missing that. I was missing that a lot, and then I kind of had to turn it on its head, and I understood why they were doing it, but I do miss that kind of, like you said, that whimsy from the 50s and 60s type sitcom.
But this was my favorite like opening credit, like WandaVision opening credits yet. So I thought it was great because it was a little like Laverne and Shirley. It was a little Three's Company. It had just a ton of stuff in there.
Yeah.
So, alrighty then. So moving on to The Expanse. It was totally a 2-parter.
Yeah, you said that last week, and was it written and directed by the same?
It was. That's where I was going with it before. Marisol Adler wrote the episode last week, or I'm sorry, directed last week and this week, and Dan Nowak wrote last week and this week. Dan Nowak's written a bunch of episodes. This time around, we got to see the whole family, which was great.
Yeah. It's the first time in a couple episodes, I believe.
That we visited everybody.
I'm still pining to have them together on the Rossi again. I'm just can't wait for that. But
I think that's going to be like the last scene of episode 10 that really gives us that bit of goodness.
Based on where everyone's at, that would make sense.
So, but yeah, no, this was I love this episode. I thought it was great. We got to see Naomi doing what Naomi does best, and that's solving problems.
So I said she was engineering the shit out of it.
Yes, she was. 145,000% she was doing that. That was great. I loved the new Secretary General giving his speech.
Pastor.
Yes. Yeah, Pastor. Thank you. I could not remember his name to save my life just now. That speech was great because he has no confidence in what he's doing, and he like gave this like empowered. greatest manhunt in human history, and we're gonna track down Marco Inaros and all
Yeah.
of his associates. And it was like, yeah, you tell him, buddy, you tell
It's
him.
like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but this is what I'm gonna say.
I don't know if I know what I'm gonna say, but I'm gonna say it, damn it. And then Admiral Delgado kind of breaking ranks with Christian in that meeting, and then Christian really standing up for, like, we're human, we don't just do this. Like, if this was Dune, she would be the Bene Gesserit Reverend Mother and asking everyone in the room, are you human or are you an animal?
Yeah.
And then giving them their Atreides Gone Jabbar. But yeah, it was.
So
Sorry.
no, what I was going to say is one of the things about Delgado is, well, like one of the things he's right about is you can't just sit around. You have to do something. You don't have to, like, you don't want to rush it. And that's what Pastor says. That's one of the things I actually like about this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a scene where he calls Delgado in and he wants to hear more about why he's thinking of basically. So basically, his plan was, we need to vaporize Palace Station.
Right.
That is kind of That's Marco's home.
Mm-hmm.
That'll show him that, hey, you mess with the wrong people on Earth. And Pastor said, hey, you know what? You're right. We do need to respond, but we have to do the right response. So I like, he has a very balanced sense of, it seems like he's very good with keeping his emotions in check.
Right.
We know Christian is a firebrand. Like, even if you want to go back to what is his name? The first 3 seasons, the bad guy, the politician.
Oh,
Not Salvatore. That's the MCRN guy.
yeah, I'm drawing a blank.
I'm drawing a blank.
But I know who you're talking about.
But it seems like Pastor has a that even keel nature where he can take in this information and not kind of like jump to, this is absolutely what we need to do, this is absolutely what we don't need to do. He's just saying, okay, I see where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have to make the decision, what is right and what is wrong.
Right.
And to go a bit more back into Delgado, I wonder how much of what he's doing is compensation for his failure to help Christian early, a few episodes ago, before all of this happened.
Yeah, because he also got credit for when Pastor announced that she was helping. He
Right.
said, it's because of Madame Avasarala and Admiral Delgado that so many lives were saved, and he's proud to have them by his side. And and maybe he's just feeling a bit of unworthy of that praise.
Right. Yeah.
So,
especially because, remember, after the first bombings, he said, hey, I was a coward. And then when Avasarala didn't say anything, he's like, thanks for disagreeing with that.
Yeah.
Because, like, he didn't do enough. Like, and part of it was because he was, he has a nice cushy job. And don't get me wrong, he did try. But I think even for him, he knows he could have done more.
Right.
And this is his way. It seems like this is his way of trying to make amends for that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're 100% spot on there. I thought that was great. I feel like we haven't spent enough time on Luna this season. That's kind of the one thing that I've been missing. But mainly because I think Avasarala is such a great character, and I hate not getting that like fix every week. I think the other interesting kind of alliance coming back together was when Amos and Peaches finally make it back to Baltimore. And I love how Eric's like, only you can leave a situation, a bad situation, and come back to a worse situation. And I loved when he called him Timmy, and Clarissa looked at Amos like, there's a story there. So
right.
That was really good. And when he accused him of white knighting for some hooker
in brothels,
it's like,
if you only knew Eric,
it's like Eric knows Timmy real well, because that's definitely something Amos would do. But no, it was great, and I love Eric. I think Eric is a great character. That guy that plays him, is like the right kind of like weaselly and terrifying all at the same time.
Hmm.
When he's talking about the rocks hit and how he went up right after and he watched the water just wipe out Washington D.C. and most of Baltimore, um, and realizing like all these neighborhoods he used to run are gone, um, and now he's just kind of holed up in his fortress. And Amos is like, "How long do you think this is gonna last? We gotta get off of Earth. We
Yeah,
gotta get out of here."
and it's funny how it took Clarissa to. I mean, I think he would have finally relented, but it took Clarissa to make him see clearly that, hey, your life here, the life you made, is over. It's dead. It's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, she told a crazy story about the woman in prison who killed her kids
Mm-hmm.
and acted as if they were still alive every morning she woke up,
Right.
even though she knew they were dead.
Yeah. That was very strange. But that's kind of what crazy people do sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great. And then as they were leaving, Amos is like, I saw a case of tequila down there. I think I need a drink because I lost my bottle. Uh, so
And the way he said it, it was almost like he was like an abashed, like kind of embarrassed. Like, you think we could, maybe
yeah,
get some of these, bring them with us?
yeah. Now I understand why the episode ended on the note that it ended on, but that would have been a great note to end on, right? If that was the
Uh,
last scene of them making their way to Winnipesaukee Island or whatever it was called.
yeah. Yeah, I'm glad it had that like little like moment of levity in it
It
because
was
again this
much
is
needed.
yeah, because we did not get much of that. There was another moment of levity between Drummer and her crew, which
hmm
the tension that they have right now,
It was
and think
so
about
forced. It was
yeah,
that levity was so like not
yeah,
not from not from a storytelling point of view, but
but from their
from
point of view,
yeah.
because I mean, you think about how easy they were together when we first got introduced to them. I mean, they're one big family, and you know, it, and to see because of the decision they made of aligning themselves with the Free Navy and Marco and the Free Navy, because Oksana tells her like, why are you shutting me out? He's like, we'll get
hmm
through this, or we'll get through this. We made our decision, and then Drummer says, I don't think I can,
Right.
and they're snipping at each other here and there, and then you have that with the the water spilled in 0G, which like you said it was pretty forced in the sense of it was that nervous kind of laughter, and because you didn't forget they didn't forget about what's going on, but it
Right.
was that 20 seconds that they needed, or but then reality came back pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I liked kind of how Camino was the one who let the jokes go by, and then she was the one who brought everybody back down to earth.
Yeah, and again, Kara G is one of my favorite characters on this show, and it's not just we get more from her when one of the things we hear, we know about how Marco set up that distress signal to lure the Rossi to its death. And they actually hear that, and Drummer's like, okay, this is where we're going. And then Carol tells her, Naomi's dead.
Mm-hmm.
She's dead. She jumped out an airlock. She's gone. And this ship, the Chetzamoya, is being used for something you don't need to know about.
Right.
And Drummer, Oksana stops Drummer from first killing Carol, and then Drummer goes off, and just the pain that she exhibits when she's alone in her room, of the thought that Naomi is dead, and then she takes that bottle from that she had saved from Ashford, and then she just downs it, and she's just left to her own device. I think for the rest of the episode, no one, she's just there on her own. And Kara G just such a fantastic job of you know emoting all the emotion, just giving us all the emotions that that character is going through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's she's missing her other family, and she's still blaming herself. And the fact that is it Carol? Is that the character's name?
Yes.
That is stationed on her flagship is just reminding her of every mistake she's made
Hmm.
when it came to helping govern the build.
Yeah. Right. And it's funny because what's it, Bertold? He's the guy that he started the snipping when Michio asked, I wonder how Surge is
Mm-hmm.
doing.
Yeah.
And he does make a very good point. He's like one of those that he cuts through the bullshit, and he doesn't always say it in the best of ways that people can absorb. But he tells Michio, like, that's your problem. You're always looking for your past, looking at the past or looking behind you at things you can't change.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly where Drummer is right now. She can't let go of, like you said, like, she feels guilty because, again, her vote was the deciding factor in why Marco's not, you know, floating around in space right now.
Right. Yeah.
And that's not, she will never be able to change that. But at the same time, it's so hard for her to let go of that because she's lost Ashford. She saw millions of people get killed on Earth, and now she believes she's lost Naomi. And she's thinking, the only thing she's thinking is, that's on me because I was the deciding factor in this, and Marco did all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And you might know that you need to let something go, but letting it go is harder than just saying, I'm going to stop thinking about that. Especially for a character like Drummer,
Mm-hmm.
that intense type of character.
I keep thinking about what will happen to her if they happen to come across Ashford's body.
Yeah, I will say, luckily, space is such a big place that's not going to happen. But
Right.
I couldn't imagine. Yeah,
I
I
could
couldn't
see
imagine.
them doing that to her though, like the writers
Yeah,
doing that to her to drive her further over the edge. But we know from being book readers where she ends up from all of this. And
right.
I don't want to see her. I feel like she's gone over the edge already, and I want to see her come back to that
Yeah,
cool and calculated Kamina drummer that is the one of the most badass women and just badass people in the galaxy.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
ring gates or otherwise.
Yeah, yeah. I think has to be her rock bottom. Watching her just float around in zero G, holding that
Yeah,
bottle of
in the fetal
liquor.
position.
Yeah, I, I mean, I don't know how you get more rock bottom than that. Like, in the situation she's in. So I I'm hoping that this is kind of like that first step of her toward getting back to where you just said.
Mm-hmm.
That badass Kamina drummer who walks out of the command center of Tycho's station after being shot, and then brains the two guys that tried to do that mutiny. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's the badass that we want to get back. And I really do think this is kind of the first step of her getting to that point.
Right. Yeah, no, I think so. All right, so we got a little bit with Holden and the Rossi crew, or I guess the new Rossi crew. Rossi, what should we call them?
Rossi Jr., the B team.
The B team, absolutely. Um, and it was they were looking for signs of the proto molecule with the exploded Wee or whatever the ship was called, or Zamea. Sorry. Um, and there was nothing there, and they were, well, how do we go after this? And he's like, well, no, we're going after Naomi now. Um, and Bull wasn't having any of it.
Yeah, and there is going to be a conversation between those two, because again, Monica says, no, when Bull says, what do you think he's going to do when he realizes that basically we're not going to be able to save her, or we're not going to be able to find her, or something along those lines. And then Monica says, I don't think he's ready to hear that, or I don't think he's able to hear that. and then Bull says, "Hey, I'm not risking my life, to save his girlfriend."
Yeah.
They're going to there's going to be a confrontation between those two of some sort coming up. It just because Bull's that type of person. He's that rough around the edges that grates a lot of people's nerves. And the way he acts, he's one of those people that you just at times you're like, man, I just want to punch you in the face.
Yeah.
And Jose Zuniga, it does such a good job of embracing that part of Bull's character.
Yeah.
So
that was.
But
that was
we didn't
nice.
get a lot. Yeah, we did not get a lot with them. Although we did get word from the Razorback.
Finally,
our boy Alex and Bobby.
Bobby.
And they get the SOS.
Yeah.
They get the fake SOS saying, "Hey, nav controls tell James Holden I'm in distress," and they end up relaying it to the Rossi, and so that's kind of where we kind of leave off with Holden and the crew.
So every time anyone says Bobby, I just think of Hank Hill from King of the Hill. Bobby, what is wrong with you, boy? Today's garbage smells completely different than yesterday's. It's the best Bobby Hill line ever. I loved the Alex and Bobby thing because they did not hesitate, to when they checked the emergency band and they got that and they were like, all right, let's go. We gotta save our girl. And it was a nice little moment. Hopefully we get more. We keep saying this every week. Hopefully we get more Alex and Bobby. Because if we're to believe what they've said about Kaz, this is it. 2 more episodes with Alex.
Yeah. And that really makes me sad.
And that's the heartbreakingest thing ever. A dude who's just been accused of things. There's not been any court of law or proof or anything about that. And, Amazon isn't sticking by him, and that's sad.
Yeah. Very.
But no, Naomi again. Jeez, what an episode! Like Dominic Tipper is to say she's killing it this season would make it sound like she doesn't kill it in every single episode. But she's killing it this season. Like, where's the for your consideration Emmy nomination for female lead in a action series, whatever, just female lead in a drama series. Let's do it. No more of this Downton Abbey bullshit. Let's get like some awards going for The Expanse. Amazon.
Yeah, really, because this show I believe, and I'm just going based on what I see when I see headlines about shows. This show is criminally underrated. The fans love it, but it's like sci-fi shows generally do not get the break or do not get the credit they deserve. And it's kind of like, a lot of the comic book movies are the same way for the most, some of them are, when they're really good, they still don't get the credit they deserve. And then you'll get one that, because of a good performance, Dark Knight gets Oscar, which it did not deserve an Oscar nomination.
The only reason Heath Ledger won the Oscar for playing the Joker is because he died.
Absolutely. And again, I loved his performance and I loved Heath Ledger as an actor, but that is the only reason. But again, with Naomi, I was so uncomfortable in the sense of just based on her just physical discomfort that she displayed, throughout trying to find a way to, gum up the works of what Marco has planned. And, she knows the Rossi is the, like this is the bait for the Rossi. And, her pushing through her physical, limitations to get done what needed to be done. I mean, Dominic Tipper was just fantastic in that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and the fact that she kept having to go back in, and I totally forgot of the the way that the Free Navy left the Chetmoka, what level of disarray they left it in, because they didn't know Naomi was going to jump out the airlock and take it over. But they left it that way, so anybody who got on board, there was nothing that they could do to stop what they planned to happen.
Right.
And yeah, it was awesome. I mean, it was like, I mean, it's heartbreaking watching her just survive the way she does. But yeah.
And I know you said, it would have been kind of funny to see that Amos line being the last line
Right.
that you hear. But hearing her, the message, because she goes through a lot to end up changing the message, because she knew she tried to almost, what I guess you would say, write over it, but that didn't work. So she had to go and figure out a way to change the message by. At first, I thought she was doing some type of, SOS or Morse code, until I actually had the subtitles on. And I love that, where it's like, this is Naomi Nagata.
Mm-hmm.
Tell James Holden. And it goes from, this is Naomi Nagata of the Rossi, tell James Holden, calm this, that, Nav, calm. And then it gets to the final one is, this is Naomi Nagata. Tell James Holden, I'm in control.
Right.
And that was amazing.
Yeah, I told you I was reading some people's reviews of it, and one of the reviews was they never figured out what she was doing, and they couldn't figure out why she kept reciting the message and going back into the room and reciting and what she was doing with the tick marks. And it's again, this is one of those things where, like, having Naomi's inner monologue here would have been amazing. Just one, to hear Dominic Tipper's voice, just kind of going over and over and hearing the fear and the franticism and everything that went into what made that scene perfect.
Yeah,
that was added to it so much more.
Yes, that was the ultimate version of showing and not telling. Because the one thing I missed, the first round is when she's doing the tick mark, she looks at kind of like the technical specs of the ship, and it shows kind of like the volume, air volume, and some other stuff. And I didn't realize that she was doing that, and I kind of got a spoiler from this, because I think it was in the after show. They mentioned the tick marks was because every time she opened the door, like, some air would seep out, and so she only had a certain amount of air, so that's why she kept doing those tick marks to know, okay, I have this amount to get. And that's one of the things that you might not, I could see why you wouldn't have picked up on, because it wasn't as, because again, like the first run through, I totally missed her looking at those technical specs. I might have looked away or something like that. But to your point, like her, it's some, kind of having a kind of like a run on type monologue in her, or voiceover of her, what's going on in her head. I think that would have been able to, I think that would have added a little bit of something, that scene, and it would definitely would have allayed some of the confusion that people had of what she was doing, what was going on.
Yeah. No, you're right.
But then again, they've never really done that. So the most they've done that with is Holden when he's talking to Miller. So I guess it's one of those things, like, we haven't done it since, we haven't done it, in these first 5 seasons, so we're not going to do it now. Type thing.
No, I get it. I just think it would have made a cool scene even cooler.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
So, yeah, dude. So I think out of busted airlocks, I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 5.
I'm gonna keep it at that 4. I do think, and this is what I want to do. I do want to watch last week and this week's back to back, when the season's over, because I want to see how, because again, you made this point last week, as far as you thought this was a part 1 of a part 2 episode, and it absolutely was.
And I think that's going to be the next 2 episodes as well, because it's the same writing and directing staff. I love this episode. I mean, it was the most anxiety ridden I've been watching a TV show in a long time. And I loved every second of it. And even though it's something where, we know what's going to happen for the most part because of the books, the tension and in the drama was still 100% there.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, and like I said, I was uncomfortable the whole episode. Like every time we cut back to Naomi, it's just imagining what she's going through. Like I was just uncomfortable and tense that like the whole time we were on her.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. So yeah, such a good week. We are blessed with The Expanse on Tuesday nights. We're getting cool ass WandaVision on Fridays. I finished Vikings finally.
I am 2 episodes away. No, or is it 1? No, 2.
Yeah, I'll say this: Vikings for me, I always am slow going to pick it back up with the new seasons. But like once I hit that like 3rd or 4th episode, then I'm like all in, and it's like, yeah, let's go watch. This season it was like the 6th episode before I was like really like, yeah, I
That's
watch
funny.
This.
Because remember when I told you how it started off? Like I wasn't a big fan of it the first few episodes.
Yeah.
The last couple episodes have really picked things up for me, at least. So I'm really excited to see these the final 2.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to talk about the finale with you at some point because, is it the finale? It's the second, maybe no, it's the second to last episode. There's something cool that happens where like you think something even cooler is about to happen, but then something still kind of cool happens, and it's like nice. But I don't know. I like. Is it Yubi? Is that his name?
Uba.
He's probably my favorite of Ragnar's remaining kids.
Oh, he's absolutely my favorite of Ragnar's kids. And, other than remaining kids.
Yeah, remaining the living ones. I mean, Bjorn Ironside is like,
Yeah.
I will say just real quick on Vikings. I know we haven't talked about that much on the show, but considering not a single character from the first season is left on the show, it is, I think that in and of itself is a testament for the fact that this show went on for whatever it was. Since what was it, season 4? They started doing season A and B. So
right, yeah. And I wasn't sure how
seasons, whatever it's been.
I was not sure when you lose your like 2 of your stars. Well, I guess you could call Rollo one of the. He was one of the main characters.
I wasn't even talking about Rollo. I was talking about Lagatha and Bjorn and Ragnar. But yeah, losing Rollo was huge, and the fact that he only came back once,
Yeah.
And like, because Taken, the TV show, was really dumb, really, really, really dumb. And like, I like the Taken movies. The Taken movies are really dumb too, but like they're really fun dumb. The NBC like network television version of I've got a skill set. Yeah, but you're not going to use it because it's network television. Get the fuck out of here. Sorry, did I say that out loud?
Yeah. But yeah, again, I think I said this was the last week or the week before. This is an example of Michael Hirsch, who's the creator, has written. I'm pretty sure he's written every single episode of Vikings. So you get that, which I mean, I don't know how he did that. Like, just
masterful storyteller.
Yeah, because this isn't. Mind. Yeah, this is not a show that does 8 or 10 episodes a season. The last 3 seasons have been 20 episodes. I know they've been split up, in the A and B, but still, that's a ton of writing, and get that connection of story flow and stuff. I mean, he's just done a great job with this, and I am looking forward to see what he's doing. They're going to do a spinoff. I don't remember what it's called though, so I'll be watching that too.
Cool. Yeah, I'll watch the spinoff as long as it's free on Prime or Hulu. But all right. Well, on that note, thank you guys for listening this week. Make sure to check out our Patreon. Make sure to check us out, like and subscribe on YouTube. If you like the show, the podcast wise, if you're listening on iTunes or you want to go over to Pod Chaser, and leave a 5-star review. That would be spectacularly awesome, and we would appreciate it greatly. But yeah, any last words, buddy?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Looking forward to doing doing our commentary on WandaVision.
Yep. And oh yeah, last week I said the commentary was going to come out on Tuesday or Wednesday, and I ended up putting it up on Saturday. So look for that immediately after we finish, because that doesn't take any time at all to post. So
WandaVision.
On that note, we'll see you guys later.
Peace.
The Infamous Podcast is recorded in Kings Mills, Ohio, just north of Cincinnati, with new episodes out every Sunday. You can find more information about the show online at infamouspodcast.com or on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as at Infamous Podcast. You can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcatching app. If you're enjoying the show, consider giving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast, or check out our Patreon at patreon.com/infamouspodcast for our new tiers and rewards. The Infamous Podcast is hosted and produced by me, Brian Tudor, with music provided by Michael Henry from meetmichaelhenry.com. You can find me on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as at Brian Tudor. So, whenever you're listening to the show, have a great day, night, evening, weekend, whenever it is, and we'll see you next time.